interesting. I think you watched it and you're like, all right, this Malik Cunningham guy, he was really good in the preseason. He flashed in week 1. Could they keep him and make a project out of him? It was like, all right, Bailey Zappe, like, it's him and Mac Jones. Those are the two guys. Hell, we went into training camp thinking that Bailey Zappe was going to be pushing Mac Jones in that room, and it's been Mac the entire preseason as a starter getting all the first-team reps.
Entering the offseason, after a very, very tumultuous regular season where the Patriots missed the playoffs, there was clear friction between Mac Jones and Bill Belichick after Belichick gave Mac 2 bozos as his OCs. Clear friction. Mac was swearing at the camera, at Patricia. It was hilarious, quite honestly. And then also a season with a little quarterback controversy. Bailey Zappe performed well. When Mac Jones got hurt, high ankle sprain against the Ravens, initially Hoyer was the backup, but he was terrible, as every single Patriot fan knew. I mean, I had no idea why he was still a quarterback. A quarterback's coach, maybe, but a quarterback, it made no sense, and it was very, very clear against Green Bay how bad Brian Hoyer was. So then he got hurt, and Zappe comes in, and he played pretty well. And then there was Detroit and Cleveland. And yes, before, I know what you're thinking. Defense was horrible. Both teams, the defenses were horrible. And for the most part, Detroit had a nice, little late surge, but the teams were pretty bad. But the Patriots sort of simplified the offense, and Bailey Zappe looked really, really good. Call a spade a spade. And then there was the high watermark against the Chicago Bears. Belichick was sort of mom all week on who'd, start. And ultimately it was Mac. Absolutely horrendous. I was at the game. It was terrible. There were boos. And then there was chantings for Zappe. The chants got really, really loud too. Zappe, Zappe. I'd never seen anything like it. I was shocked. I remember that for Brady, but for the backup, I felt sorry for Mac, to be honest. But, I remember there were even kids behind me wearing Mac Jones jerseys chanting for Zappe. I mean, how quickly we move on, huh? I get it. So, Zappe came in, was incredible for 2 drives, tied the game. There was even that video, when he's singing Stacy's Mom, that was blasting. Became a meme. It was awesome. But then he got a little exposed for the late round, not that tall rookie that he was. And in the second half of the game, he was downright horrible. His passes kept getting tipped. He took bad sacks. He had an interception. Blah, blah, blah. It was horrible. Probably the worst game I've ever watched in person. For any sport, maybe. At least off the top of my mind. But he still had those 2 good games. And Mac Jones was horrible the rest of the season, outside of a, Thanksgiving game against the Vikings. Maybe a little bit in that Buffalo game where they lost, but he had 3 touchdowns. Patriots missed the playoffs, and there was a little bit of a quarterback controversy entering the offseason. Belichick refused to name the starter and was sort of, vague when always asked, who's starting? What do you think of Mac? All of this, Belichick would give his typical Belichick answers, and, it drove me crazy. It drove probably a lot of people crazy. But, Mac took most of the first-team reps and never played in the preseason, which I thought was quite honestly really stupid. Yeah, sit Tom Brady, that's fine. He gets it. He is the system. But you just brought in an offensive coordinator. A new one. Mac's 3rd in 3 years. And he was bad last year. So it wouldn't have hurt to maybe let him get a few reps, but nope. Bill Belichick, arrogant. Whatever his rationale, he sat him. So we got to see Bailey Zappe. And Bailey Zappe blew. He sucked. I mean, he didn't do anything well in my eyes. I mean, the drives that I watched anyways, he was just awful. Held the ball too long. His height got exposed. The tip passes. The fumbles. He just sucked. he looked like just a backup, right? And then in that first game against the Houston Texans, Malik Cunningham dazzled. He had that incredible drive. Lamar Jackson-esque. I mean, they share the same alma mater. And everybody was excited. I mean, I looked at the Instagram comments when they posted the final score. Malik this, Malik that. It was cool. Everybody's clamoring for the next big thing, huh? So Zappe continued to struggle with the same reasons. But, you know, it's preseason. I don't really care. It's preseason. You're playing practice squad people that'll probably never play in the NFL again. Certain people going half speed. I don't really care. I don't put much stock into it. So I neither put the stock in Malik's really dazzling drive, nor did I put much stock into Bailey Zappe's, you know, objectively poor preseason altogether. I said, whatever, you know. Zappe will be 2. Malik will be 3, third string. And then obviously Trace McSorley will get cut. I mean, I don't know why he was even here. I mean, we saw him with Arizona last year. He's, you know, not good. But breaking news. Right at the deadline, around 4 o'clock, right? Bailey Zappe has been cut, released by the Patriots. Now, I gotta be honest, I was a little shocked and a little angry. Bill Belichick's arrogance strikes again. Not just not paying players, but making, in my eyes, kind of stupid roster decisions. Why wouldn't you keep Bailey Zappe? Yes, he had a bad preseason, but you had 3 very good games of him last year. You saw he could play in the NFL. You're telling me that's not worth a backup spot? Are you kidding? A guy that was respectful, coachable, would kind of go with the flow and was a good backup. I'm not saying that Bailey Zappe was a starter in the league, but you're just going to cut him like that? So those were kind of my raw thoughts. I still sort of feel that way, you know, a couple hours later. But then my rationale was, all right, well, I liked Malik Cunningham. He had some good drives. Again, I didn't care that much, but I liked that he played the game like a modern passer, not like mid-Mac who plays quarterback like it's 2000. I liked Cunningham. He was fast, elusive, even had a pretty good arm. I said, well, all right, you know, low risk, high reward. You keep him on the roster. Why not? Then, breaking news again. I guess these aren't really breaking, but you know what I mean. Malik Cunningham got cut. He got released. So then the Patriots room went from 4 to 1. And yeah, look, there were plenty of seasons when the New England Patriots would carry 2 quarterbacks in the roster. You know, when it was Brady and Brian Hoyer, but you had Brady. You were 100% sure you had the superstar. And if the said superstar got hurt, your team, your season was toast. You still don't know what you have with Mac Jones. I mean, he's pretty evidently average, but none of us still really know. There's a lot of arguments as to why he was bad last year, and he showed signs the year before that he could be all right. But nothing definitive. You're telling me you're going to cut the backup and the third stringer, so you're going to go bring in another Brian Hoyer type quarterback? Some journeyman that's been on 8 teams? Gosh, it's just stupid. You know, just the way Bill Belichick is as a GM just absolutely drives me nuts. I think he is so bad at it now. Not the fact that he basically spent all his money on practice squad members like Chris Board, making sure Slater got taken care of, and Joe Cardona. That was where Belichick's focus was. But the fact of the matter is Belichick was too cheap to get a receiver. He didn't want to pay DeAndre Hopkins a very reasonable contract. So all these things build up in my eyes to the quarterbacks getting cut that didn't need to be cut. I mean, unless there's going to be some news in the next day that Tom Brady, instead of having a retirement ceremony against the Eagles, is going to come play, then this is so stupid. You're going to go bring in some random, just 35-year-old quarterback to back Mac Jones, who doesn't deserve to have this sort of comfort because he's not good enough, at least yet. So in my eyes, this season's probably going to be a disaster, and, you know, we can all enjoy Tom Brady screaming, "Let's go!" into the microphone as the Patriots are down 31-3 at halftime against the Eagles, right? The big ceremony, we're all excited about it because it's going to be the high watermark of this season, probably. Belichick refuses to spend on the offense, refuses to invest on the offense, and won't even make the smart decisions to keep quarterbacks with some upside and low risk. Just complete arrogance. He just keeps coaching this team like he always has, managing the team like he always has, and it just isn't working. Man, it just makes me sick. So the season is just, I'm very, very concerned, and I hated the moves today, especially Cunningham. I hated it. If you're going to get rid of Zappe, keep Cunningham. One or the other. Don't cut both of them. Man, it's just a disaster at this point. Somebody else. Belichick should be fired as GM. Make him only the coach. Can do it quietly for his ego, but he should not be the GM anymore. He's terrible at it.